Hey guys, Chris and PJ here live in the Dream Giveaway Garage.
Happy Thursday to you.
Thursday.
Yeah, big
Throwback Thursday.
Week is flying by here, Chris.
Yeah, word throwback is a weird word, PJ. It's like a fish. You throw it back. Maybe Time Machine Thursday.
Okay, Time Machine
Thursday. That'll work as well. Today we're going to be comparing 1970 LS5 big block Corvette versus 1970 Challenger 440 pack. Before we get to that, I had so much fun talking about the Dodge brothers yesterday that I decided to see if there was an automotive day in history for August 1st. And you know what? There is one. Now think about this, guys. Think about how many times you get on that interstate system just knowing it's there for you, right? That on-ramp is there, that express lane is there, that off-ramp is there, but it wasn't always the case. PJ, way back before you were born.
Because I was born in 1970, as
way
you know.
back before I was born. You know, in the 1950s, coming off of World War II, there was no interstate system, right? And President Dwight Eisenhower made sure that there was a way to connect all the towns and cities of the United States. Now, some people think that his real reason on that was for military deployment. That if it came down during the Cold War to something really happening with Russia, that he could get troops and equipment from bases to ports without having to block up small cities and towns. And you know, there's a pretty good bet that that's the real reason. But they marketed it as a peacetime project, right? Signed 1956. And on August 1st of 1956, they released $2.25 billion for the 1958 fiscal year to start building, or to continue building, America's interstate system. Did you guys know any of that?
Roger says Eisenhower highway system.
Absolutely it. And so I'll tell you what, usually we don't make you guys sit through class, but this 2-minute video is cool because not only will you learn about the interstate system that we use in our lives, but you will also see some pretty cool cars. So it's about 2 minutes long, longer than we usually share with you guys, but it's worth a watch. PJ, roll 'em.
Today in the Daily Dose, the National Interstate and Defense Highways Act of 1956. In 1956, there were 65 million cars on American highways, with a forecast of 90 million by 1975. Clearly, it was time for national action. Congress responded by passing the National Interstate and Defense Highways Act, which President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed into law on June 29, 1956, kicking off what would become the largest public works project in American history up to its time. The act provided a staggering sum of $51 billion to be spent by the states to build the interstate highway system by 1971, putting in place a 41,000-mile highway system that would change the nation's core freight transportation system from rail-based to truck-based, while allowing Americans the freedom to wander the country like never before. Once the economic hardships of World War II had ended, the United States enjoyed a period of economic prosperity that spanned the 1950s and 60s, which allowed Congress to fund the interstate highway system by diverting defense funding into building highways, thinly rationalized as a vital link between Air Force bases scattered around the country. 90% of interstate construction cost was funded by the federal government, while each state was required to pony up the remaining 10% through new taxes on fuel, automobiles, trucks, and tires. Comprised of a system of controlled access highways, even-numbered interstates travel east to west, with lower-numbered interstates traversing the southern and southwestern states, while the higher-numbered highways traverse the northern states of the country. Odd-numbered interstates travel north to south, with the lower numbered interstates on the West Coast, while the higher numbered interstates traverse the East Coast. Today, the American interstate highway system has grown only slightly since its first conception, providing a total of 46,876 miles for citizens and visitors alike to wander the American landscape. And there you have it, the National Interstate and Defense Highways Act of 1956, today on the Daily Dope.
That was really fun to watch. What did you guys think? Did you pick out any cars there from days gone past?
I can't imagine what the system would have been like prior to the highway system. I mean, it must have been insane to get across the country.
Absolutely was, and that's what Route 66 was, right? And the interstate system, of course, killed that whole Midwest to the West thoroughfare. But again, that was stoplight by stoplight, 30 miles an hour. It took forever to get from Chicago out to California, and that interstate system just made everything so much better. We take it for granted, right?
Robert Burns says, which highway was the most famous? I don't know, maybe it was, like you said,
well, Route 66,
yeah.
Of course. So today, back in 1956, U.S. government drops $2.25 billion for the 1958 fiscal year.
So we can go really, really fast with some really high horsepower
We can go
machines.
really, really fast with some high horsepower cars. Tomorrow, winner's going to be standing right here with me. Studio A, the Dream Giveaway Garage. On my right, 1968 Pontiac GTO, 32,000 original miles. What a great car. 404 speed, power top, convertible. That'll be going to Earl from the great state of Virginia. You know, I have to interject. Kathy had a question from somebody today. Why do we keep saying you can't drive the classics home? You can drive them home.
Yeah. Well, first off, I guess, would you want to drive something like this home?
And so we had a long discussion for a better part of 5 minutes today as to why you shouldn't drive a classic car home. Reason number one, safety, right? And I'm not talking about the car safety. I'm talking about all the people out there. Do you want to risk driving a car all the way on our interstate system all the way home? And with the price of gas, it's probably cheaper just to put it on a transporter. But the real reason may come down to this: gearing, right? So 4-speed 68 GTO, let's say it's got 355 rear gears. By the time you're hitting 50 miles an hour, you're up to 2,500, 2,750 RPM. You can't do 80 miles an hour for 1,000 miles, right? It's not geared for it. So that may be the real reason that we tell people, listen, do what you want. You're the winner. Once we give you the keys and the title and you show us the insurance, you can drive it anywhere that you want. But we suggest that if you're going cross country, get it transported. The risks are minimized.
There's no airbags. There's a lot of things going on with this. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But it would be cool, and I've done it many times. And yes, I've done them in GTOs. I've done them in who knows what, ton of different cars. Those days are kind of gone.
Now the winner of the BMW doesn't have that problem.
Well, the winner of the BMW is driving the car home.
That's right.
In fact, he's bringing his brother with him. One is driving the BMW M4 CSL, that's a competition lightweight coupe, and one is driving the motorcycle.
Chris, what is this down here in front of the winner's box?
Well, that's our newest partner, PJ. That's Adams Polishes.
And is there something inside?
There is something inside. There's a whole bunch of goodies inside.
Oh, look at that.
On Adams Polishes. There's a pump there. There's some fluids that'll keep your car, exterior, interior, and glass surfaces clean. There's some nice microfiber towels and wash accessories.
Still some comments.
Thanks, Adams.
Yeah, that's awesome. Still some comments on the videos here. Feels like they're still working in the interstate California. It's always traffic.
But that's right. We say that on our roads around here. They started them 50 years ago. They'll be done in another 50 years.
Roger says, I worked on I-29 just south of Iowa state line. That's
Really,
pretty wild.
Roger? What'd you do?
That's pretty wild.
What'd you open hoods? Gotcha.
Well, we want to check out 270 vehicles
Speaking
today,
of
right?
open hoods, we're going to compare two cars from 1970. And by the way, the interstate law was that these states who contributed 10% to the cost of the interstate system had to have everything done by 1971. Don't know if you knew that.
Really?
So we're going to start over here first on the big block, 4-speed Corvette.
I'll get around over here.
Now, there were other sports cars available in America in 1970, but they were basically imports. Think about the Jaguar, right? The XKE, you can think about the MG.
What would be the difference between a sports car and a muscle car, Chris? I mean,
Well,
1970.
you know, for the purpose of this episode, and the Corvette is really considered America's sports car, but in 1970, I think it's just as much a muscle car as a Camaro or a Chevelle. It certainly had the same powertrain, right? 454 cubic inches, 390 horsepower. You could have gotten an LS5 in a Chevelle. I think that's the only, you could have gotten it in a Monte Carlo. I don't think that you could have gotten it in an Impala. That's a good one. I'll have to look that up. So whether you call the 70 Corvette a sports car or a muscle car, in 1970, people in that sports car market could choose from a Jag, from an NGB, from an Alfa Romeo, from a little Mercedes Roadster. But this was America's sports car. And this is the last of the big compression year, 1970, of course. So this one, NCRS Top Flight. It's got a 4-speed. It's a cool 4-speed, but I got to tell you, once we see the plum crazy 4-speed, it's all over. Right? Cool cabin, the epitome of America performance in 1970.
Now the C3,
Corvette.
what year of C3 is this? Is this the third year, second year?
Oh, good question. So the C3, the third generation of the Corvette, started in 1968. This will be the third year. And there we go. Oh,
All right.
and by the way, it's got factory AC.
Oh, perfect.
Just like our Chevelle. Both of them are factory AC, LS5 454 big blocks. Come on. Okay, over to what was happening over at Dodge.
1970 again.
Whole lot different. Yeah. Definitely not a sports car, definitely a muscle car.
Muscle car.
Muscle car. Absolutely.
Is it because of the style and the design of the actual the body?
Well, yes, and here's the thing. Usually when you think of a sports car, you think of a 2-seater. So the Corvette is a 2-seater, right? When you think of a muscle car, like a GTO, you've got 2 in the front and then you've got a bench in the back. The same thing on the Challenger. Raise your hand if you've ever been stuck in the back seat of a 70 Challenger when you were a kid. I'm raising my hand. All right, engine bay, whole lot different looking. Certainly a whole lot more magical looking right here, right? More attention getting. Really, Dodge was not being subtle at all, and with the color purple, you'd expect them to be as bold as they could get away with. And that's the 70 446 pack engine that you're looking at right here. PJ asked me the very important question, which of the two wins the there's no replacement for displacement contest? And we both all know the answer to that. The Corvette wins by 14 cubic inches.
So it's a bigger engine.
454 over the 440, but no contest at all when it comes to the stick shift. Pistol grip wins every day.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, and you know, this is a, PJ, I haven't used the word all week. I'm going to say it now. This is a holy grail.
Because of the color?
Engine, color, transmission, ownership. Remember, it was owned and restored by the president of the Chrysler Corporation. Yeah, Jim Holden, you can look him up. And there you go. And Odyssey battery, so nice. supplying the battery for this. It's great. And look at the restoration here. You can see the factory line decals. Our decals are chalk marks or paint daubs, all recreated there during the restoration. Chalk mark over there on the firewall. And unlike the Corvette engine bay, which it is a little tight in there because it's got the AC, right? You can look down to the ground pretty easily on that 440. So sports car or muscle car. You had a couple smackaronis back in 1970. Are you going to your Dodge dealer or your Chevy dealer?
What are you doing, Chris, if you're 1970?
Oh, 1970? You know, that's tough, TJ, because I really like that 1970 Corvette there. To me, it is really cool, but I really love this Challenger as well. I had to think about that. It's a tough one. I don't know.
This one also comes with the SRT, so.
And this comes with the SRT. How do you win? You go to dreamgiveaway.com. You get your entries to win. Today being the 1st of August, remind you guys we've got a brand new giveaway that launched a couple days ago, and that is our Mammoth 1000 TRX. You're saying, Chris, what in the world is a Mammoth 1000 TRX? So you take a Ram 1500 truck, you have the factory put a Hellcat engine in it, a supercharged 6.2, and then you have Hennessy go and increase that horsepower to 1,012 horsepower. It is our very first T-Rex Mammoth Dream Giveaway. You can see it on our website. PJ, I need to start warming up for tomorrow.
All right. Well,
okay.
That'll do it then.
There you go. Well, guys, thanks for joining us today. Always fun sharing 4 o'clock with you on the East Coast, and we will see you tomorrow with more great fun, more great action, more great grand prizes, and tomorrow, meet 2 grand prize winners, regular guys just like you. Helped out charity, and they won a car of their dreams. It only happens here live in our favorite place on earth, the Dream Giveaway Garage.
See you next time, everyone.